Hey everybody. So today's video is a little bit different. I actually want to share something with you that I've been working through the last few months that's been kind of heavy for me. And I would say it only just came to a head the last few months, but it's something I've been working on for probably 18 months to 2 years. A lot of it sort of subconsciously, a lot of it unconsciously was coming up. I didn't know I was doing certain things, repeating certain limiting beliefs, behaviors, etc. And then only just recently in the last few months, I've been able to actually work it through. It was actually when I went and lived in Maui for a couple of months, all my heart stuff that I've been burying deep in the heart started to really come out. So I wanted to share it with you just briefly to see if it was something that you resonate with, and see if this is something that's coming up in your life, because I feel it's important to share with each other what's going on. And it might come to your awareness that maybe this is something that's going on with you too, and something that you're working through. So if my experience can help you, I'm happy to share. So something that's been repeating throughout my life is just sort of feeling obligated to help people with things, feeling really guilty if I didn't, this like self-imposed guilt, like especially with family, right? Like, oh, I have to help because that's the right thing to do. If I don't help, they're not going to be able to do it without me, etc. So I've been struggling with that my whole life, feeling like it was selfish if I didn't help. Although it had gotten better in recent years, it came up really recently because I found that I wasn't committing to my own business, and I wasn't committing to the success of my business. And I had gotten really tired. My energy was really low. I was feeling really overwhelmed with anything work related. It had gotten really bad energy-wise for me. And when I went to Maui, I finally had a chance to kind of be in this, because I don't know if you know this, but Maui is like the heart chakra of the earth, right? And so I really had an opportunity to just sit down and think about what was going on and just be in the energy. And I found that I was really resentful of helping people when I didn't want to help. And I resented myself for not following what I wanted to do and not following my heart. And I resented the people that I was helping, even though they didn't always ask me for help. But I injected myself into the situation to help when I wasn't necessarily being asked to. And when I really dug even deeper, it was because I felt that I needed to feel needed. So we had a lot of really deep things going on here, right? I had to really stop and look at, what is this need that I have, right? And it was feeling unwanted, right? I never felt that I was really valued. And when that hit me, I just woke up and I went, oh my goodness, this is a self-worth issue. I'm not valuing myself. I'm not loving myself. So I'm injecting myself into these other situations, and I'm having to create a way for me to feel valued. I hope you're following me, because it's really, there's a lot of parts going on here, but basically I created a way for myself to feel connected, and yet I still felt disconnected and unfulfilled and unhappy, because I was not doing something that in my heart I really wanted to do. And this was a beautiful distraction to keep me from my own work and focusing on my own work, which I was afraid to focus on, because it meant that I had to put myself out there 100%. And I wasn't ready to do that. So in my mind and in my energy and in my experience in the world, I created a way to avoid fully committing to my business. And I took everybody down with me when I did it. I made other people, and of course we can't make people feel a certain way, but my actions sort of created a role for me that if I decided I wasn't going to be a part of it anymore, it left the other people that I was working with who gave me the opportunity hell or high water. Do you know what I mean? So there was this like challenge, and you could tell I'm getting emotional. There was this challenge for me to go, Felicia, what are you doing? If you're going to help, help. If you're not going to help, don't help. But either way, make a commitment. So here's what I did about it. I started to look at my beliefs and go, what is it that's driving me to fill this void with something outside of myself? I had to look at that first, right? I had to stop and go into the shadow, which is this very, it's our most traumatic experiences that we have, right? And we bury them usually in the heart. So I had to stop and go, what is this that's driving me to behave this way? That was number one, because we have to look at that and acknowledge it, right? We have to look at that and go, okay, this may be hard to look at, but I need to do it, right? So I did that. And all you can see when the emotions came up for me, it's because it's raw still, right? Like I'm still sort of accepting it and working it through, but I'm so far into the other side now, I'm able to sort of look at it with love and go, oh, okay, I see what I was doing, but I'm going to love myself through it, right? Because that's the only thing that transforms energy is love, right? Transforms it into light. So I had to stop and look at my behavior and go, oh my goodness, this is what I'm doing. So I did that and I owned it. Said, okay, I own this. I see what I'm doing. And because I own it, I can change it. If I give my power away to somebody else and go, you're the one that's making me do this, I've just lost all my power and my ability to change. So owning it was critical for me. I had to own it. I would recommend that you own your shit too, because it's very empowering when you realize that you can change it, right? So I owned it. I said, okay, I know this is what I've been doing. So I'm a healer, right? So I started doing my healing work on it. I consulted the Akashic Records. I consulted my angels, but mostly they couldn't help me very much. And there's a reason for this. What I've been learning the last 18 months was to trust my own intuition. Don't always check with the Akashic Records. Don't always check with the angels. Felicia, what do you want to do? What do you feel is right for you? Right? How often do we go to other people or ask other people's opinions, etc.? We're just giving our energy away when we do that, and we're clouding our thinking and our intuition. There's times when it's appropriate, but most of the time, a quiet, clear mind is what will get you connected with the heart. So that was my next step. I went into meditation, not a formal meditation, because I don't really like, even when people recommend meditation to me, I have some resistance to it because obviously I'm in my head a lot. You know, I'm a thinker, like I'm always processing things in my mind, right? It's a good challenge for me. So that's what I did. I just sat in silence. That's what I call it, instead of meditation. And what I did was I would breathe really loud. So, because that got my brain to focus on my breathing. It's a distraction. And when I got my brain to focus on my breathing, because my breathing was so loud, my mind started to get quiet over time. And my acupuncturist, his name is Dr. Steve, awesome guy. He said something to me that really shook me because I think I just needed to hear it from him. You know, there are certain people that say things to us and it's like, wow, I really heard that in the way that they say it, right? And what he said to me was, we don't meditate to ask questions. We meditate to quiet the mind, and then answers come. It was amazing. It was an amazing shift in perspective for me because it took the pressure off. Because if we walk into meditation and we're walking in and going, oh, I want to ask about this and that, your mind's not quiet. Do you know what I mean? So when he said that to me, I thought, wow, I had never looked at it that way. Okay. So I went into meditation and it took the pressure off for me. It was just to quiet my mind. So I did that. I did it with breathing. Another technique you can do if you have a really loud mind is you light a candle and you do an open eye meditation by staring at the candle flame. It distracts the mind, not distracts, makes it focus on the candle flame. And then you do your deep breathing, and that's a good start. 5 minutes a day. Just start with 5 minutes a day. Once I did that, that was a big breakthrough for me because when the mind started to get a lot quieter, and now I'm able to more on command quiet the mind since then. I was able to quiet the mind, and then solutions started presenting themselves. Not necessarily in meditation, sometimes yes, but because I'm able to keep my mind quiet now throughout my day, solutions present themselves. Like I'll be writing something and thinking about, how can I do this? And I'll go, oh, like this. And it just comes to me from inside of me. I'm not going to the Akashic Records. I'm not going to angels or having to go sit in meditation to ask if something is in alignment or right for me. I'm not having to do any of that. So the first step is, what's your pattern? For me, I started to see these behaviors coming up, and I started to see how my actions were affecting others. And if you're present and start to ask questions of yourself and your behaviors, it becomes obvious what needs to be healed. And that's when we go into silence and we create space in our mind to have solutions present themselves. The universe wants you to heal, right? That's not a question. The universe wants you to heal. It's just a matter of how and when, right? When is your time? When are you going to be open-hearted enough to, let this energy present to be healed? So I know this was a very different video than what I've usually done, but I think we're moving into a phase of being and existing in the world from an open-hearted place. And that requires radical vulnerability and being able to admit when you're wrong and right these wrongs, whether you did them on purpose or not, in the moment, in this lifetime. That's what it requires. Humility when you've done something wrong. And forgiveness of yourself when you have. Because that's how we transcend and move on past the experience and learn from it. We have to have a learning, right? We learn, we grow, we move on to the next thing. We learn, we grow, we move on to the next. So it's a dance for sure. And it's definitely not always easy. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you're watching this video, you're probably on a light worker path in some way. You're healing, helping, spreading light, spreading love, wanting to heal and grow. And the good news is you chose the difficult path. You did. It's about knowing and understanding what path you're on, owning up to your stuff, your light and your shadow, because you have both, and growing from the experience, forgiving other people, forgiving yourself, approaching situations with compassion, with you and with others. It's all of this. It's not just one. So I hope this sharing helped you. I didn't quite know what I was going to make this video about today, and this is just what came out. So feel free to share it. I'm totally transparent. If you want to share the video with somebody you think might resonate, please feel free to do so. And I will definitely see you next week. And if you haven't checked out our weekly energy videos, please do so. I would love to hear what you thought about this one too. Drop me a comment and I'll be sure to respond. And I will see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye.